What is going on, everybody? This is Justin Martinez, aka Jay the Sports Dude, coming to y'all live from my apartment. Hopefully you all are staying at your homes as well, practicing social distancing and staying safe during this pandemic, and I'm here to provide y'all with a little bit of extra entertainment. That's right, folks. It is time for the latest episode of Aggie Mailbag, the weekly series where I answer your guys' most pressing questions about the New Mexico State men's basketball team. Shout out to everyone who sent in questions for this episode, and if you want to get involved moving forward, there's plenty of ways to do that. You can find me on Twitter at JayTheSportsDude. You can email me directly at jmmartinez@gannett.com. You can find me on Facebook, which is our Las Cruces Sun News Sports page, and you can find me on the message boards of Aggie Alert, which is going to be popping up right here. Now, without any further ado, let's go ahead and get this started. Alrighty guys, let's go ahead and get it started with question number one. You know the drill by now. I have my trusty mailbag beside me, and this one is coming to us courtesy of Stephen M via YouTube. He wants to know what area of offense/defense will improve the most from last year's team and this year's team. Now I will say, I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of categories where we see a huge jump compared to last season, but I did find something on both offense and defense where I think we might see a marginal increase. Starting with the offense, I think this New Mexico State team will take better care of the basketball this time around, because when you look at last season's squad, they actually averaged 20.6 turnovers per 100 possessions last season, which only ranked 290th in the country according to KenPom. A whole lot of room for improvement there. But when you look at the top 5 players in turnover rate for New Mexico State last season, it went Sean Buchanan, Evan Gilliard, Ivan Adekoechea, Sean Williams, and then CJ Bobbitt. Evan is the only one returning from that bunch. And speaking of guys who are returning, there's a lot of guys back in the mix that do take really good care of the basketball, starting with Jabari Rice, who in his redshirt sophomore season really improved his ball handling and actually had the 3rd lowest turnover rate on the squad. Then Johnny McCants, somebody that they trust with the basketball a whole lot, had the 2nd lowest rate, and for a big man, his handles are as good as he gets in the WAC. And then Clayton Henry, not a lot of people remember that 2 seasons ago, he only recorded 20 total turnovers for the Aggies. Now, because of all these guys back in the mix, I could see New Mexico State being in the ballpark of around 18.5 turnovers per game, which would put them in about the middle of the pack in the country, and that definitely is a step up from being in the bottom of the country last season. Now, defensively, I think we're going to have to nitpick just a little bit more, because this is where the Aggies thrive. But if I had to pick one thing, I think their defensive rebounding numbers might go up just a smidge, guys, because they were 6th in the WAC last season in defensive rebounds per game at 24.1. And when you look at some of these guys who were crashing the glass really well, it starts off with Johnny McCants, Ivan Adekoechea, and Jabari Rice. That was the top 3 for them last season, and Ivan is the only one who has graduated, so both McCants and Rice back in the mix. And then some new guys in the mix that also crashed the glass really well. You look at Wilfred Lakai, even though he was out for last season, 2 seasons ago at Casper College, he averaged 7.8 rebounds per game. Snead State's Jason King, 5.1 rebounds per game. And then Ranger College's CJ Roberts and Western Nebraska's Kalen Williams each averaged 3.3 boards per contest. So all of these guys really good at getting on the glass. And now I could see New Mexico State actually averaging around 25 defensive rebounds per game, which is about 1 rebound more per contest compared to last season. Again, it is marginal, because at the end of the day, this is a team that lost a lot of key contributors, so it's going to be hard for them to find a category where they're going to take a huge jump in production. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of reasons to be excited for this New Mexico State team, and they still should be the favorites in the WAC. Alrighty guys, let's keep it moving with question number 2. I'm reaching back into the mailbag here, and this one is coming to us courtesy of Hoopsmaster23 via Aggie Alert. He wants to know, what role do you think Wilfred Lakai will have this upcoming season? A good enough one where you should definitely keep an eye on him. That much is for sure. Now, the 6'10" transfer from Casper College was set to make his debut for the Aggies last season before ultimately tearing his LCL and his meniscus in the summer, which kept him sidelined for the entire year. However, now that he is healthy, I think he's going to turn a lot of heads this upcoming season. This guy is a freak athlete, really good ball handling at his size, so good in fact that he can play the 3 spot, and his range is also pretty impressive. The Portland, Oregon native averaged 16.8 points and 7.8 rebounds per game with the T-Birds last season, while shooting 31.2% from distance as a sophomore. Call it blasphemous, but when I look at the film for Lakai, I do see shades of Pascal Siakam. I know it's crazy to say that, but hear me out. When you look at these guys' frames when they entered New Mexico State, Lakai came in at 6'10", 210 pounds compared to Siakam at 6'9" and 230 pounds. Yes, Siakam has a bit more muscle as of right now, but I will say that there are more similarities. Both players not afraid to put the ball on the deck, and I would even say that Lakai is more willing to shoot it from deep right now than Siakam was during his time at New Mexico State. Now, of course, I don't expect Lakai to be an all-WAC first-team selection or the newcomer of the year for that matter, like Siakam was in his first season. That would be a reach considering we haven't seen him play Division I basketball just yet, but I do think that the similarities are there. I can't deny that, and I think that Lakai can carve out a pretty good role on the second unit for New Mexico State this upcoming season, because when you look at what he plays, small forward / power forward, those are the two spots where New Mexico State doesn't have a whole lot of depth, especially if Donnie Tillman, the transfer from UNLV, doesn't get granted immediate eligibility. If that is the case, I could see Lakai getting into the ballpark of around 5.2 points, 3.5 rebounds per contest in about 16 minutes per game, and I think that's pretty good, enough definitely to generate some excitement for his senior year. Alrighty guys, we're here on the home stretch with our third and final question of today. And this one is going to be coming to us courtesy of Cameron Montano via YouTube. He wants to know, who do you think in the WAC is the best player this upcoming season? Now, there are a couple of guys that I can go with here, but my answer has to be Jabari Rice out of none other than New Mexico State. Not a 6'4" guard, had a breakout season last year as a redshirt sophomore, averaging 12.8 points, 5.1 rebounds, and 1.9 assists per contest en route to an all-WAC first-team selection, by the way. A little bit of icing on the cake, and I'm expecting big things out of him once again this upcoming season, because he really does it all for New Mexico State. You look at the offensive side of the ball, where he is as efficient as they come. Now, Jabari had an offensive rating of 117 last season, according to KenPom, which ranked first in the conference among all players who were used in at least 20% of their team's possessions. Then on the other side of the ball, Jabari was as versatile of a defender as you will find in the WAC. The underclassmen played positions 1 through 3 during the Aggies' injury woes, and the advanced stats really show his impact a little bit more. Now, Sports Reference has something called defensive win shares, and what this does is it estimates the amount of wins contributed by a player's defense alone to his team, and according to them, Jabari was actually third on the squad with a defensive win share of 1.6 last season. And it does not end there, because on the glass, he also made his impact known. Now, he was 7th in the conference in total offensive rebounds last season at 49, and he was the only player under 6'6" among that group. Now, definitely there were a couple other guys in contention for that throne. Look at Alessandro Lever out of Grand Canyon, a 6'10" center who was an all-WAC second-team selection last season, and he's a WAC Player of the Year candidate this time around, in my opinion, with the graduation of Carlos Johnson. Then there's UTRGV's Javon Levi, who's a 2-time WAC Defensive Player of the Year. The veteran point guard ranked first in the entire country in assist rate last season at 47.6, and he'll be asked to score even more himself with Jordan Jackson and Leslie Varner II no longer in the mix. And then don't forget about Rice's teammate Johnny McCants. The redshirt senior is one of my picks to make the all-WAC first team this season, and he could easily emerge as the Aggies' go-to scorer if he continues to knock down his shots from distance. Now, definitely you can make an argument for either one of these guys, but I'm sticking with the one who is the only returner from last season's all-WAC first team, which is Jabari Rice. And whether he ends up being the best player in the WAC this season or not, one thing is for sure, the Aggies are in good hands moving forward. But guys, that is going to do it for this episode of Aggie Mailbag. I appreciate you for watching. Please leave a like if you enjoyed this. Subscribe, turn on post notification bells so you can get updated every single time that we upload here, because we're bringing you all a lot of great content as of right now. And if you guys want to read the article version of this, it's the same questions, same answers, just one is a video version, one is an article version. That will be popping up right here on lcsunnews.com, so make sure to check that out as well. Guys, again, thank you so much for watching this. We're doing this every Thursday at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. As long as you guys keep sending in the questions, I'll keep this going. But for now, I am done for tonight. This is Justin Martinez, aka Jay the Sports Dude, and I'm out.